Before we get going today, I want to mention an incredible clinic opportunity with Lauren's First and Goal Clinic. We have over 160 coaches from the FBS and FCS level, as well as some NFL coaches sprinkled in there, and great coaches have been helping out Lauren's First and Goal for years from the small college level as well. Check out this clinic. It's at lfgf.coachesclinic.com. These coaches who are presenting are giving back to the game and helping a great foundation. Lauren's First and Goal was set up as a camp that was run yearly. Right now with the pandemic, that camp cannot be run, and unfortunately, the fundraising efforts have come to a halt because there isn't a camp. Until now with this clinic, the clinic raises money for research for pediatric brain tumor as well as cancer services. Again, go to lfgf.coachesclinic.com to see the lineup headlined by guys like Mac Brown, Luke Fickell, Dan Quinn, former NFL head coach, and Greg Schiano. We have many more who are being added to the list. There are about 80 coaches in there right now. About half of the lineup is in. Coach John Luce from Army and I have been very intentional about how we've set up this lineup, and we're making sure that it has something for every position coach, every coordinator, every strength and conditioning coach. Again, check it out at lfgf.coachesclinic.com and save on our early bird special, $49 right now for the entire clinic, $150 for a staff of 5. Today's Quickcast is with Billy Napier, head football coach of the Louisiana Ragin Cajuns. Special thanks to CoachTube and the Texas High School Coaches Association for sharing audio for today's Quickcast. It's taken from the CoachTube course, the Ragin Cajun Formula for Offensive Success. For our listeners, this course is 50% off for the next week. The link is in the show notes. It's one you're going to want to check out. The Ragin Cajuns are currently 9-1 and in first place of Group A in the Sunbelt Conference and ranked number 19 in the nation. They're averaging 422 yards per game and 33.9 points per game on offense. Head coach Billy Napier shares their offseason development plan for their offensive players. This certainly can be applied to both sides of the ball and special teams. As you consider how you might approach this next offseason, Coach Napier's common language lesson plans and ignition reels for players can be an interesting way to present information to your players. For Coach Napier, it all starts with common language. Common language for the Ragin Cajuns begins with how they label the defense. Coach Napier explains the significance of this, as well as suggests that this is a session that you have with all your players and staff so that everyone is on the same page with how to communicate. It makes in-game adjustments so much more effective.
One of the things that we've done in the last 2 years that I think it's been extremely beneficial for us on offense, okay? In my opinion, one of the areas where football is won or lost is the ability to identify and create a language that you speak with your staff and with your players, okay? So we've created a defensive ID setup that's a little bit unique, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that, and then we're going to talk about some of the things that we do with our players in the summer that we call lesson plans. And here's a couple of things. This is kind of where we start, okay? Position ID, okay? You know, I grew up in the Sam Mike Will world, you know, the pro. We used to break the huddle when I was a player at Furman University as a quarterback. We would go to the line with 2 and 3 plays. You know, everything was open and close calls, passing strength. There was a Sam linebacker, a Mike linebacker, a Will linebacker. It was basically pro football, okay? As the game has sped up, as teams have gone to tempo, now it is a field and boundary game, okay? So we still use Sam, Mike, and Will when we start talking about run IDs and protection IDs. But we start identifying defenders, we use a completely different language. So just to give you an idea, we call what a lot of people call that nickel player, we label that guy the star. He's basically the field outside linebacker. The middle of the three, we call him the Mac. Okay, the boundary defender is the money. We have it, the two interior players are the nose and the tackle. The field defender, that's the end. And that boundary hybrid player, that defensive end and outside linebacker, we label him the jack. We have a bandit for the boundary safety and a free safety for the field safety. Now you say, why is that an issue? Well, we can make any of these linebackers the Mike when we're running plays or using protections. Our six-man protection is set up. The O-line has the 4 down in the wheel. The running back has Mike to Sam the 4 weak. Okay, and we could end up, if it was six-man protection to the field, that guy could be the Mike. If it was six-man protection to the boundary, that guy would be the Mike. So in the meeting room and during the game, when I say, hey, we're going to make the money the Mike here, okay, there's no indecision. We can talk, we label basically every pressure, every in-game conversation, every meeting conversation. In the tight end room, it's said the same way. In the quarterback room, it's said the same way. When we meet with the offensive players, it's been really, really beneficial for us. I would encourage you, with your staff, to have a section where you identify the other side of the ball. Every coach, every GA, every QC, every breakdown, every player, we educate our players this way. It's been very beneficial for us.
Lesson plans are something we're all familiar with as teachers. Coach Napier lays out exactly what they do in each lesson plan in order to improve the football IQ of his players. In this segment, he shares how it is done with the quarterbacks. The visuals for this are in the Texas High School Coaches Association course on CoachTube, and the link is shared in the show notes and on coachingcoordinator.com. Let's take a listen.
In the summertime, we do what we call lesson plans. It's basically homework, okay? Our quarterbacks do 18 of these throughout the season, throughout the summer. We do 18 OTAs, which is optional team activities, okay? And these basically correlate with those OTAs. And in that lesson plan, there is 6 plays that go with that install that the quarterback has to draw up and detail his progression, his reads. We do 6 plays of opponent emphasis. So the quarterback is watching the defenses that he's going to play against the next season. He has to watch the first half, and he has to pad 6 plays of both the offense and defense and translate that and draw that into our verbiage. He's got to watch the first half of that game. We have a coverage of the day, a pressure of the day, and then we do what we call ignition reels, which is basically watching the best at your position. You can see here we had Brett Favre mic'd up from the NFL Network. We do highlight reels of like players, the best players at that position in the National Football League, maybe even some of the better players in college football. We make cut-ups for our players to have them watch the best in the game. And right there you can see that's clips 121 of 160 of Russell Wilson, okay? This is all research-based stuff, basically trying to create a visual for the player of things being done at an elite level. Okay, this is an example of what the quarterback would do. Those are the 6 plays that he's got to draw up. Okay, then he's basically got to go in. This is I think it's like 10 by 14 sheet of stock card. There's 6 boxes on there. Everything has to be drawn to scale. There's been a lot of articles written recently about Belichick and him making those young coaches in the building pad plays. And this is basically the exact same thing, exact same scenario we're doing with our players. Okay, so this is the 6 plays of install. Quarterback's got to draw it to scale, depths, adjustments. He's got to put his progression on there. 6 simple plays. Okay, and then he moves on. There's a close-up. Okay, you can see here, this is a simple drag and dagger Baja for us. Basically a dig and a go with the H on a bring over route and the individual cut by the Z. So you can see there, the quarterback is labeled yes, no on the gift, the conversion versus pressure cloud. And then we've got a simple triangle read with an action throw, reaction throw, and check down. Okay, it's 603 protection, so the back is left, and there's the built-in hot if we were to get two on the running back. Okay, so quarterback's got to go through this thought process. He's got to draw the formation into play. Everything is the correct depth. Okay, he goes to his install packet. He has to draw the play, and we go from there. This is an example of the 6 plays of the opponent that the quarterback has drawn up. Okay, you can see there's now he's translating not only the opponent defense, but he's translating the opponent offense. Okay, here's a close-up. Okay, so again, it's 2nd and 10 on the 42-yard line. The defensive call is odd jack 4. It's a 3-down odd front. The jack is coming, and they're playing quarters coverage. We label all of our coverages, middle open coverages, split safety coverages are all even numbers. Post safety, middle closed coverages are all odd numbers. Okay, so there's a rhyme or reason to everything that we're doing. This is an example. He translated the offense into our verbiage. Trips right 003, gas, X take. Okay, the defensive verbiage here. Notice that he's drawing the techniques of the defensive lineman. Okay, it's a 0, 2 4 eyes, a 90 backer, a 10 backer, and a 30 backer. The safeties need to be exactly where they are in reference to the hash. The corners at their correct depth. I mean, we're getting very specific here. It's been very beneficial for the quarterback. Here's the coverage of the day diagram. He's got to go to his section of his playbook. He's got to pull out this coverage. There's clips throughout the season of some of the opponents in our league that maybe run this coverage. This is what we call 3-buzz plus coverage. So it's field rotation. All cover 3s are field rotation. You can see that the free safety is buzzing inside the star and the MAC, and the bandit's the post player. Okay, but he's got to draw it up. He's got to watch the film. Very beneficial. Cross guts is a common pressure that of some of the opponents that we're going to play this year. A lot of this 3 deep, 2 underneath concept that we're seeing throughout our league. So we're just throwing that in there. We're going to get those guys prepared for that. So when we do get to the season, they're more and more prepared for that opportunity.
Ignition reels are examples of players doing things at an elite level. Think about what you can do to create a library of your best former players, opponent all-conference players, or players from the highest levels performing at their position. This is a powerful tool in helping players see what it takes to excel on the field. Coach Napier explains how the Ragin Cajuns do it.
Okay, then we've got ignition reels. Okay, these are examples of some of the players that we cut up. We basically take the Pro Bowl roster from the last couple years, and then we pull the best offensive lineman, the best running back, tight end, receiver, quarterback. We make basically anywhere from 200 to 300 play clips of each one of these players, and those are basically a library for our players to go to. We use a company called Pro Football Focus, which makes this pretty simple for us. And then we develop these. You do this 3, 4, 5 years, you got one heck of a library on your system of really good players for your players to watch. This is just an example, of Drew Brees. 50 plays of Drew Brees running his system with the New Orleans Saints. We look for like plays. We look for like concepts. We look for like fundamentals. And this is an example of maybe 50 plays of Drew Brees that a guy would watch as part of his ignition reel. You'd be amazed at how intrigued your players are going to be when they have an opportunity to watch, with the remote in their hand, the best in the game doing their thing. Okay, there you go. So now you got 30 minutes of, probably my favorite quarterback of all time, Brett Favre. These are examples. 18 times in the summer, corresponding with our installs and OTAs, every player on our team, we've got a specific plan for each position group. Okay, offensive line, tight end, running back, receiver, and certainly on the same side. Our defensive players are doing this for the first time ever this summer. We did not do it last year, and it's already paid dividends. When they can tell you, they can pause the video and say the name of the running play, the formation, So much more anticipation. They play faster. It allows you to make in-game adjustments. It's better when you got a 3-day week prep. You're more prepared, okay? And I think it'll lead to better football.
The entire course, Ragin Cajun's Formula for Offensive Success, can be found on CoachTube. The link is in the show notes in your description on your podcast app or at coachandcoordinator.com. It includes details on every aspect of what goes into their game plan, and it's 50% off for the next week. As you consider how you present to your players and teach with the pandemic restrictions still in place, Coach Napier's plan, which is paying dividends for the Ragin Cajuns, could be the way to go. A perfect platform in which to present this is Just Play Solutions. Just Play Solutions allows you to create everything that Coach Napier talks about and present it in a way that is very visually appealing for your players. It includes quizzing and check for understanding ability to keep your player learning at the highest levels. Check out their platform and mention you heard it on Coach and Coordinator to save 10% on your new subscription. Go to justplaysolutions.com. Follow everything we're doing on Twitter at Coach K. Grabowski, and check out our new home for the podcast at coachandcoordinator.com. And if you look up in the right-hand corner there, you'll see a link to our free digital magazine full of video and great coaching tips that work better in a visual format and are taken from the podcast. Again, check that out at coachandcoordinator.com.